guys, it's Jen and I'm back with another Felicity Jane process video for you. I'm using the Felicity Jane Savannah kit and I'm pulling out a bunch of the products that have the deer on them that are in this awesome fall kit. And I'm going to scrapbook a couple of camping photos, and I remembered that I had a photo of a deer, so that's going to work perfectly. And I'm going to use a photo that's vertical and one that's horizontal. And often when I use two 4x6 photos like this, I find that I go back to the same layout design. And I always find that if I place them in this manner, then I have a perfect place for my title above the photo. And so that's what I'm going to do first. Is I already know that that's what's going to happen, so I'm going to go ahead and get my title figured out. I pulled out some wax paper to just lay these charm thickers on top of, and these came in the kit, but I already had some in my stash, so I'm just going ahead and I put both of them in my kit so that I can use one up first and then pull from the other one as I need to. I love these thickers because the corrugated look, especially for this layout, has a real natural feel, and so it works perfectly. And my title's going to be There's Beauty All Around. And I haven't quite worked out how I want to do the rest of the title. I usually make my title so that at least one of the words is larger than the rest of them. And so I'm looking through my past Felicity Jane kits to see if there's any smaller letters that I might want to use. But I decided to go back to my trusty Teresa Collins little tile alphabet stickers that are white. But I really want the word beauty to stand out, and so I'm still thinking about how I want to do it. And before I do that, I'm going to layer up some of these papers. So I know I just want to use little shots of that deer paper. Don't want it to be too overwhelming, so I'm just putting a little piece behind the photos, and then I want to use this really pretty kind of melon colored paper with the gold dots, and I like the way that plays with the color of the deer. It kind of matches it, but not in a weird way. I'm going to play around a bit with adding some other patterns to this as well. And I like the idea of bringing in another color, so I thought about that blue. That pattern feels a little busy at the bottom to me, so I'm going to think about it. And while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to stamp some leaves. So I know that I want to, there's not any green in the kit, but I know I want to bring some green in because green is such a heavy influence in the photos. So what I'm doing is I'm taking some green Simon Says stamp ink and stamping that on some white scratch paper, the leaf, and I'm going to cut it out. And that is beanstalk green, if anyone's wondering. I'll link to all of the products that aren't in the kit below the video. So if you want to just look at the video description on my YouTube channel. So I'm just going to hand cut those out. And while I'm cutting those, I'll just tell you what this layout is kind of about. So this is from a camping trip and I have tons and tons of photos. But what I want to talk about rather than the actual trip is talk about how I don't like animals. I don't like hiking. I don't like the dirtiness of camping or anything like that. But I really super love the beauty of it all. And so that's what my journaling is going to be about. And I love picking out different stories like that. And if that's something that you struggle with, or if you have a ton of photos from a certain event, I do have a class called Photo Triage Vacation Photos that can really help you to kind of figure out what stories to tell and how to tell them that way. So be sure to check that out. You can check that out on CraftyJenSchow.com. Anyway, so I'm just hand trimming out these little leaves, and I really love the way they look peeking out from that photo. And I'm going to cut out, I think I stamp 4 of them and use them in 2 little clusters. I really love the way I'm leaf obsessed, and so I love like silhouette die cuts of leaves, and I have a bunch of those in my shop because I love leaves so much. And so I knew that with that stamp, that's what I'd probably do. So as I mentioned before, I want to emphasize the word beauty in my title, but I couldn't find anything I really wanted to use. So what I'm going to do is just script my own word here. And I do this quite a lot, is use my brush script in my scrapbooking. And not to mention again, but I have a class called Intro to Brush Script if that's something that you've been wanting to learn. And you can, again, find that on my blog. So I just am writing the word beauty, and I thought I would do kind of a greenish color to match the leaves, but I'm not loving the way it's turned out. So And I'm trying a bunch of different markers as well. I thought that maybe the watercolors would be a good option, but I decide in the end to just use black. And so what I'm going to do is pull out a black Pentel art brush pen here and just write the word beauty. And I really like the way it turns out. And I'm just going to trim around it. I could have done it on my background, but sometimes that's nerve-wracking, right? So I just trimmed around it and pretended like it was a sticker or something like that. And that's how I'm going to use it. So I'm just using some fine-tipped scissors. Those ones are from Close to My Heart. I really like the fine tip that those ones have. And just trimming around those letters there. This Savannah kit is awesome because it's a fall kit, but it has bright colors in it, and it also has a lot of things that work for any kind of outdoor layout, which is why I chose these particular photos to go with this. Also because I happen to have a deer photo, and of course there was a deer flare and some deer paper, which I actually thought I would save for my December, some of my December layouts, but this worked out perfectly. So I'm just finishing trimming that up, and I really like the way that the word beauty is going to bring some of the black from the patterned paper up to the title area. And I'm going to go ahead and find the rest of the letters for the remainder of my title. And you can see that I made the descender of the Y rest in the N, and I like to do that wherever possible to make the title really feel like a complete piece and not like it's just a bunch of random things coming together. I really want everything to feel like it belongs there. And now you can see that I decided to place those little leaf clusters up above the title. They just fit in nicely right there. And I like how it brings up the green from the photos. So anywhere I can, I'm trying to kind of dot the colors around the page to kind of guide your eye. So I was just looking at the branding strips of all of my patterned papers, trying to see if there's anything that would match. I thought it might be nice to bring some yellow into this layout, but those hearts weren't saturated enough. I needed the whole strip to be yellow and not just the hearts. So I'm going to go back to the leaf paper for now. Eventually I will change it for something else. That little deer flare fits in with my titling right there perfectly, and I love it. And I'm going to use some of these little paper clips that we got. They're in the shape of a leaf, and they're from Pink Paisley, and they're super cute. And right now I'm just going through some of the cut apart sheet. These are they're on sticker stock, so you can just peel off the backing. And this is where I'm going to get my pop of yellow. So I decided to put in that little label there, and I'll put one at the bottom as well to just bring in a shot of yellow. You can see that I also added that wood veneer hello piece up at the top left on that photo, and I'm going to add some of these puffy stickers as well. I'll end up using some hearts and some of the flowers, and I really like what the flowers bring to the layout. I am going to search for another piece of flare because often when I have one I like to have two, but I won't end up using it. I'm also going to find a branding strip that's blue to replace that blue leafy print. You can see that the two prints that I have already going on with the polka dot and the deer, the icons are pretty evenly spaced apart, and I'm looking for maybe a tighter pattern, and that's what I find on this branding strip that's from that deer paper. So I think it fits better, and it's not as distracting, but you still get a little bit of that blue color. So I really like that a lot more. So I'm just going to go ahead and adhere my layers now. I'm thinking about it anyway. And I found one of the little cut apart pieces from the sticker sheet that has a yellow heart on it, and I'm going to end up using that. So I'm just looking for some, oh, I left my adhesive somewhere. I should have cut that out. I'm sorry. I'm going to adhere that little strip with some of my Scotch Quick Dry adhesive because I've only got a tiny little piece to adhere to the back, and I don't want to adhere it to the base of the layout yet because I'm not exactly sure where I want it. So that Quick Dry adhesive in that fine line bottle works really well. You just buy that bottle empty and then you can fill it with whatever you want. So I've gone ahead and adhered everything down, and I went ahead and drew some journaling lines, and I'm just writing out my journaling. And I'm just writing what I talked about before, how I don't like animals, but I like viewing them from afar. I don't like hiking, but I enjoy the view. I don't like camping, but I appreciate the beauty and all of that kind of thing. You can see as I'm writing here, you can see where I placed those puffy stickers to the left of the title and then a little floral to the right of it. And I think that I accidentally meant to cut this part of the video and record a different part, but I got it switched around. So you're going to see some close-up photos. There's that flower I added at the bottom, and that's going to complete this layout. If you have any questions, just leave me a comment below. Be sure to check out the kits on felicityjane.com, and I'll link to all available products in the video description. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.